What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Roan Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcast live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you until about 7:30, 7:32 or so. It's a Friday. We have football fields. We have to break down Thursday night football and some other tasks on our to-do list today, November 22nd. Get in on the action, 12OZ Sports on X and YouTube. You can comment on the show and we can respond to you live. And then, of course, follow 12OZ Sports or Coach_Romo24, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, whatever the social media is. Make sure you give us follow. It was a winter wonderland in Cleveland last night as the Pittsburgh Steelers traveled to the Cleveland Browns to start week 12 of the National Football League season. Some video from that game for you. We're going to start today with a straight off the Rome because I have to get something off of my chest that has really been bothering me over the last few days. Of course, it's Friday football feels, as I said before. We got to go through week 12, which we will do at the end of the show, coupled with our quite possible favorite segment so far to date, which you've all hopefully grown to love. Maybe not the greatest day from the banana pick standpoint. Doesn't mean, though, that we don't love getting back on the horse and picking again today. So, big show to finish up the week, get it on the action anyway. We have already described it. Okay, let's go straight off the Rome to start this spectacular. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I come in pretty fired up this morning. And I think part of the reason why I'm fired up on the topic that I'm going to talk with you about today is because I am a college coach myself, okay? And so I've been reading a lot of stories recently, more specifically out of Division I college football, of these players changing their commitments, okay? And so essentially what's going on right now is players are committing to these schools during their junior season, okay? So essentially a year ago. And then over the course of the next 12 to 14 months, since they haven't signed a national letter of intent, which isn't really a thing anymore anyways, since they haven't signed anything to bind them to that university, these players are watching the way their senior year would go and then deciding to decommit and change commitment. So something happened yesterday that really sent me for a tailspin. This dude, Bryce Underwood, okay? He was the number one rated, I think, prospect in the 2025 class, okay? He committed to LSU at some point in what I believe I saw was August of 2023, okay? This now has been over a year and change since this dude, Bryce Underwood, committed to LSU, okay? Now, months go down the line, and you start to see that you don't like what's going on at LSU as much as you like what's going on at Michigan, so you decommit from LSU so you can open up your recruiting and go to Michigan. Now, I don't see a problem with the player wanting to be able to change their mind. What I see a problem with is why we've changed and pushed up the recruiting calendars, why we've worked so hard to start recruiting sophomores and freshmen and juniors in high school, if at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they say to you during the recruiting process. It just matters if you can lock them down right before they have to make an actual decision during signing period in November, and then furthermore, which most D1 football players do, enrolling in classes in the spring. But I am sick and tired of this new way of life. And this is not the only one. Colorado just got some dude that's the number 2 rated quarterback in the class. He flipped from one place to the next. All I've been watching and seeing over the last few weeks in Division I college football is discussion about the 12-team playoff, which is cool, and stories about kids decommitting or flipping their commitment from one school to the next. And my concern or my problem or what pisses me off, whatever terminology you'd like to use, is what the hell is the point of a commitment? What is the definition of the word commitment? Right? So why are we committing to these schools? Why do we even have a period when someone could commit without signing a dotted line and making it official? Because you are absolutely screwing the entire recruiting process for these coaches. Now, I understand we could argue NCAA athletics rules for the next year and a half. I'd have to do a continuous show for 500 days if we wanted to truly go through the problems with the rules in the NCAA. But look what's happening to Florida State right now. And I'm not saying Mike Norvell maybe didn't do it to himself either. Usually, when scenarios like that happen, you go from 10-0 and just missing the 14 playoff to 1-10 the next year, historically atrocious football team, and you lose almost every commitment you had in the 2025 class. Usually, there's a lot of factors that go into something like that. But I feel for Mike Norvell right now, okay? Had one of the top, I think, maybe 15 recruiting classes in the country for the 2025 class. So him, in his mind, he's like, I got to get through this 2024 season. Obviously, I don't think they thought it was going to be this poor. I got to get through this 2024 season. We have a great recruiting class in 2025. Let's hit the ground running again. And no, because these kids can do whatever they want now. So we changed all of the rules, right? Everything is changing to give the kid the power. And I believe the student athlete should make money. I believe the student athlete should have a one-time transfer that does not make them sit out or have any ramifications for them. And I believe that coaches should be able to make decisions to change jobs, which they believe is best for their families. I believe in all of those things. But I don't believe that because those things exist, that we have to screw the sanctity of commitment. There is no committing to colleges anymore. There is no, I'm going to go here because I said I'm going to go here. That doesn't exist anymore. It exists in the places that you don't see it, in the places that don't make the NCAA money. It exists where I am. And so it is disturbing to continually see this trend. And I sit here and I say to myself, I'm the head coach of an NCAA institution that doesn't give athletic money. So what are these kids truly committing to with me? Outside of me and maybe something the school has to offer, there's nothing binding these kids to the quote-unquote commitment that they made to whatever college coach in the country for whatever sport they're committing to. And I don't think you understand how drastically difficult it is for a coach to go through a recruiting cycle, find the position player needs he has, get them, and then so far down the line, after the cycle's essentially ending, you have to now go redo your entire class that you've had done for 9, 10, 11, 12 months. And I get the portal and this and that and the other thing, but it's like there's no one team that's 100% portal, and there's no one team that's 100% freshman. You need a healthy mix of both. So that's my straight off the roam today. All right? Because it's really starting to bother me, this flip commitment. Like, I'm seeing these posts like I should be proud for this kid that completely committed somewhere and didn't mean it, didn't have any morals to stick on that commitment and dipped. Not because the coach changed, not because anything, right? You committed to the same coach that you're now decommitting from and flipping schools, which you could have chose that school from the jump. So anyways, I think there's some morals and some values that need to be retaught to the generation that is about to be entering the college ranks. Hey, get your money, get the most you can, do what you need to do to get what you can while you're in college. But there should still be a right way to do it, the appropriate way to do it. And you can look at guys like Jalen Hurts. You can look at guys like Baker Mayfield. All guys, Joe Burrows, that went to an institution, transferred because they weren't playing, weren't happy, didn't jive, whatever the case is, went to another institution, did it all appropriately, and now have themselves a fantastic NFL career. And oh, by the way, two of those dudes have Heisman trophies. So it clearly worked out for them, and they did it the right way. We hope we're doing it the right way here on 12ouncesports.com. This is the Rome Show here on Friday, November 22nd. Here's the deal, okay? Last night, the Cleveland Browns hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was one of the weirdest, wildest, wackiest, whatever W adjective word you can think of games that I have ever seen. Now, usually, Thursday nights will provide that, okay? Most likely a short week for most teams. Your injury report is usually greater on a Thursday than on a Sunday, so much less time to break. And there's always a chance for the random Thursday upset. Going into this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers were favored by 4.5 points. And I'll say this before I give you some highlights and break down the contest. There was a real chance here for the Steelers, okay? There's no reason why we should be talking about a 24-19 Cleveland Browns victory when as easily we could be talking about a 24-19 Pittsburgh Steelers victory. I thought I'd tell you this, okay? Russell Wilson started this game perfect, a perfect 10 for 10 with 128 yards, yet the Pittsburgh Steelers went 3 quarters without scoring a touchdown. So that was 7 straight quarters where the Pittsburgh Steelers scored field goals and 0 touchdowns. It was a streak of 8 straight field goals, 4 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers before breaking through with a touchdown in the fourth quarter, a big touchdown nonetheless. In this game, like I said, wacky, weird, and wild, a few things happened. The first was it started out in 40-degree weather and normal, cold, Cleveland, wind, all of the typical winter football things or fall football things, whatever season you believe you're in right now or whatever state you live in, who the hell knows. By the time the third quarter started, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pop this up on the screen. But this was the second half of this football game, as you see Jameis Winston throwing a pick here. And I picked this clip because watch the defensive guys launching snowballs at each other at the end of that clip. So you had unbelievable elements. You had to figure out how to adjust your team off of, and there was snow predicted, but that was a snowstorm. That was inches of snow. That was white football field for 30 minutes of this game. So 16 points were scored in the first 3 quarters of this football game. But obviously in the worst type of conditions, the Browns and the Steelers combined for 27 points in the second half. Wilson finished 21 of 28, 270 for 1 TD. He threw that TD to Calvin Austin III, which put the Steelers up 19-18 with like roughly 5 minutes remaining. But Nick Chubb was able to finish off the victory for the Browns, as you see right here on your screen, rumbling, stumbling, and bumbling through the snow, through the big bodies for a lead for the Browns. But before we finish this highlight, I wanted to give Jameis Winston his due. If you're looking at the screen right now, let's set this up for you, okay? Like I said, 16 total points scored, through the first 45 minutes of this football game. The Cleveland Browns are driving, heading into the fourth quarter. They have a lead. They're looking to go up by 2 scores. Jameis Winston, on his own personal revenge tour in Cleveland, reviving his career, much like Joe Flacco did last season. On 4th and 2, Jameis Winston scrambles away from T.J. Watt, and bang! Touchdown. Beautiful execution from Jameis Winston. Helmet comms come out of his head. And then the Browns line up for 2, and watch this throw and catch. Winston to Njoku, exactly what you want. And the Browns go up 18-6. As I mentioned before, the Steelers come back. They score. They get the Jameis Winston pick that you saw before in the snow. They score a touchdown to Calvin Austin in the 3rd, and then Nick Chubb secures the victory for the Browns. Really back and forth affair. I'd like to say this before we take our commercial break. Shout out to the Cleveland fans. Seriously, okay? You would have thought coming into this year, you have a football team that's fighting for a playoff spot. You thought you would have had a basketball team that had a really good chance to make a run, which they are proving that right now. And there's a good feeling around Cleveland sports. And then the Browns do this. Deshaun Watson's atrocious. They start the season 2-8. Yeah, good win here. Battling in every game for the most part, like usual. Good defense. But they're 2-8. And now it's Thursday night, under 40 degrees. It eventually snows at a ridiculous rate. There's no offense whatsoever. And it looks like your team is about to blow a 12-point lead with 7 minutes left in the game. And every single person that came to that game, which is wild to begin with because it's a Thursday, there's 6 games under 500, and it's freezing cold. Packed house, ridiculously awesome crowd. And if you tuned into that game, had no idea what the records were, or knew nothing about the National Football League, you'd be like, this Cleveland team has something to play for. They're clearly in the fight here. Because the way they're playing, the way their fan base is, it's very impressive. And so I don't know if that's a scenario where Kevin Stefanski should be fired at the end of this year. I think that's a scenario where the general manager should come to Kevin Stefanski's office and say, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I put you in a spot here with this Deshaun Watson signing that has really hindered your ability to be a great coach. Because when I give you Joe Flacco and I give you Jameis Winston, all of a sudden, we're an elite football team to a degree. I give you Baker Mayfield, really, really good. I give you who we thought would be the best quarterback out of that bunch in Deshaun Watson, and we're atrocious. I'm sorry. Here's a 3-year contract extension. When we get to the draft this year, pick whoever you'd like. That's what should be said to Kevin Stefanski. Because the fact that he has his team fighting like that in the snow on a Thursday, 6 games under 500, super awesome, very impressive. So the Browns, they moved to 3-8. The Steelers, they dropped to 8-3. And a lot of important stuff goes on this weekend when it comes to the standings, because now a Baltimore Ravens victory has them tied with the Steelers at a half game back of the Steelers, but tied with 8 victories in the win column. So a lot to do this weekend in Week 12 of the National Football League. A lot to do on the Rome Show, including some info on Gino Auriemma becoming the best coach all time, wins-wise, in NCAA basketball. And then, of course, your Friday Football Week 12 feels. This is the Rome Show on 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube and X. Back after this commercial break. Stay with us.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah! The Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. Having a blast on a Friday. Talking sports like we always do. Every day on 7 ounce sports. Every day on 7 ounce sports. No. Add 5 ounces, bruh. It's behind you. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live, YouTube, and X. Follow us, all the social medias. Gino Auriemma becomes the winningest coach of all time in NCAA college basketball. Doesn't matter the side, doesn't matter the division. Gino Auriemma beats my alma mater, Fairleigh Dickinson University, by a score of like 81 to 40 something 2 nights ago for his 1,217th win. Congratulations. Oh, we don't want to laugh there. We want to applause to Gino Auriemma. Here's what it sounded like when the game came. I mean, come on, dude. Some of the statistics on Gino Auriemma are off the charts, and you can see one of them behind me. Let's break it down. Gino Auriemma has 1,217 total wins in his career. Listen to this, though. He has 329 total 40-point victories. You know how many wins I said? Remember how many 40-point wins? How many losses, though? 162. That is right. Gino Auriemma's record, okay, 40-point wins to just losses is 329 to 162. That is actually off the charts. Gino Auriemma's 882 winning percentage is the greatest all time, obviously, and this man has not only won, but won at a high clip. 59 conference championships, 23 Final Fours, 11 national championships, and, which I think is the greatest thing ever, 2 historical win streaks of 90 games straight and 111 victories straight. One more round of applause for Gino Auriemma, because I got to tell you, as a coach myself, that is all I would love to be able to do, is look back and say I am one of the greatest of all time. By the way, he took over UConn in 1985. On the board right now is the most wins by head coaches in basketball NCAA history. He passed Tara Vanderveer, the late Stanford coach who retired last April. Mike Krzyzewski, obviously the great Duke head coach. Pat Summitt, whose life was sadly taken way too early, was the great coach from Tennessee, and then the list continues down. So Gino Auriemma, we probably witnessed do something that we'll never see done again, because in my lifetime, I've watched Jim Boeheim, Pat Summitt, Mike Krzyzewski, Tara Vanderveer, and Gino Auriemma. So I've witnessed 5 of these 8 come close, if not break the record like Tara Vanderveer did or Mike Krzyzewski for even a moment. That is generational type stuff. I don't know if you'll ever see anybody beat this record again. 40 years at one institution, 1985 to 2024, is so impressive. And by the way, before we hit the football here, shout out to Gino Auriemma's associate head coach, Chris Daly, who has been with him from the jump. Chris Daly's been with Gino Auriemma. Never left, never went to go be a head coach, nothing like that. That is an impressive woman right there. And if you listen to anything coming out of that program, there is no Gino Auriemma without Chris Daly. Congratulations to the entire UConn program and athletics department. Okay, 3 to 5 minutes left in this show. It's a Friday. You know what that means. Friday football fields. Friday football fields. And some bananas too. All right. I'm going to save my 3 banana picks, the overalls that is. I'm going to save those for the end. So I'm going to go through the weekend slate minus the 3 games that I am picking, and then I will give you those 3 after we play our favorite sounder on the show. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off, the Miami Dolphins on a 2-game winning streak. All right, they're favored by 7.5 at home against the Patriots. Patriots, winners of 2 of their last 3, playing way better football. But the Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa, everything is better. We've talked about this multitudes of times. So I'm going to take the Dolphins on the money line here, but I am going to take the Pats at the plus 7.5. The Dolphins team is not good enough to beat this Pats team by more than a few touchdowns. They are good enough on paper. They're not playing good enough. Pats plus 7.5. Dolphins on the money line. Vikings at Bears. The Vikings are favored by 3.5 here. I think the only reason why this is not favored by more is because Sam Darnold's the cornerback of the Vikings, and they have not been playing as good a football. 10 interceptions for Sam Darnold this season to 19 touchdowns. The other side of it, though, the Bears just fired their offensive coordinator. What's that going to be? I have no idea. So I'll still stick with Minnesota, and I'll stick with them at the minus 3.5. The Buccaneers visit the Giants. They're favored by 6. Tommy DeVito is starting for the Giants. This is a perfect recipe for the Giants to win this game and Tommy DeVito to do something to ignite this fan base. The Buccaneers have lost 5 straight, I think. 4 or 5 straight. At the end of the day, not playing good football. They come into New York with a revived team because of a new quarterback thing. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to take the Giants at the plus 6 here because I think that is a perfect scenario for the Giants fan to get just a hair more stupid hope when they probably shouldn't have it, and it works out in their favor for just this week. So Giants plus 6 over the Bucs. I'm going to take the Commanders at minus 10.5 against the Cowboys. I don't know if I believe in the Commanders to score more than 10.5 points above the Cowboys, but I don't know if let me say that again. I don't know what I believe in less. The Commanders to win by a touchdown and a field goal, or the Cowboys to even be within that. I don't know. The Cowboys are just so bad. I'm going to take the Commanders as the favorite and just move on from that game. Probably put none of my real bananas on it. Titans at Texans. Texans favored by 7.5. Give me the Texans. Joe Mixon hopefully going to go off again. And then we get a little Nico Collins, Tank Dell mixed in there. Broncos at Raiders. Broncos favored by 6. I'll take the Broncos by the 6. Green Bay is favored at home against the 49ers, and I'm going to take it because I don't believe in this year's version of the 49ers. And then, that's all the games I'm going to pick? Okay, switch the music really quickly, and let's finish the show because now it's our favorite segment of the day. It's bananas time. That's right. All right, let's finish. 3 more games to pick, but these are the 3 I'm putting on the bananas. My bananas, your bananas, all of our bananas, bushels of bananas, whatever it is, we're putting it on these 3 games. Give me the Lions. They are favored at the Colts by 7. Yeah, let's roll, baby. The Lions have scored 50 points twice this season. They'd only done that 3 times total in the 50 years leading up to the 2024 season. Give me Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's a good take. Detroit minus the 7. I'll take the Cardinals. They are favored by 1 on the road in Seattle. Seattle, since Pete Carroll's not there, proving not to be as dangerous of a place to go play. We've watched teams go in there and win this year, including the aforementioned not very good Giants led by Daniel Jones. So I want the Cardinals at the -1, essentially a pick 'em on the road in Seattle. And then finally, we got the Eagles. They're going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Philly is favored in this game by a field goal. That's 3 points. The Rams do play pretty good at home. They're 3-2. I'm going to take the Eagles, though, at the -3. I just think the Eagles as a whole package team, 1, playing so much better in the last 5 weeks, but 2, I think so much more consistent than the Rams. So be it. We want a little bit more consistency out of both teams. So those are my 3 picks. And if you want a bonus, I'm going to super parlay. I don't know what that even means. I'm going to parlay Jaden Daniels over 200 passing yards with a Travis Kelce touchdown if you want a bonus bananas play. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Daily Bananas, your Friday Football Feels, and your road show here November 22nd, 2024. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow us on social media. Be electric. Have an electric weekend. And until Monday, Andrew Romanella saying, peace!